be disappointed if you're a Wakefield fan. More so, I would suggest, with the comments coming out of the club from your head coach this week, saying he was satisfied with the performance. I would go so far as to say that if you're losing at home to one of your rivals at the bottom end of Super League, that you would be dissatisfied with the performance. Although I based that solely on what I've read about the game, and then reading his comments, people who've seen the game live might be able to get in touch and tell us slightly differently.
Yeah, I've only seen the highlights of the tries, and they didn't tell me much about the game apart from that Ben Jones-Bishop had a bit of a nightmare. Because I think a couple of his mistakes led straight to tries.
Mr. Safe Hands getting a couple of tries for Widnes as well, set him out of SAR.
Well, great start for him, wasn't it, in his Widnes career?
That's it.
Complete reversal from last season.
Absolutely. You've got to say
last season's worst player in Super League by the metrics we could deserve it.
That's it, but no, he's doing all right. And you've got to say that any team that's got Mellor, Brown and Hanbury in it is going to be, on their day, a very difficult proposition, because there's some talent there in the halves and at full-back, isn't there?
And Hanbury probably was the star man. If all what I've seen and read and stuff is correct. But both teams did the best actually to kick themselves in the teeth based on the numbers. Wakefield with 15 errors, Widnes with 11 penalties. That's a really high number for an individual team. Ultimately, it was Widnes' ability to make things happen when they had the ball that saw them through. There's 7 breaks to 2 by Wakefield, which probably is a positive on the Wakefield defence side if they're only conceding 4 tries from those 7 clean breaks. And they also had a 1.2 metre per carry better average gain than the Wildcats did. So they were making more metres despite having fewer carries in this one. So Widnes did a lot more with the ball and didn't have the mistakes in front of their own sticks to kind of hamper themselves. Individually, Reece Hanbury with a try, 7 tackles, 172 metres and 2 clean breaks.
Phenomenal.
Set Amatasar had 2 tries off 2 clean breaks. Cahill had 110 metres, and Paddy Arvan on the wing there had 102 metres. For Widnes, for Wakefield, there wasn't too many bright spots to pull out. Bill Tupu with 142 metres and Anthony England with 121 metres were their highest performing stat men.
Okay, there you go. Brian Davies got in touch with us. I'm assuming this is over Facebook, is it, Mark? Fantastic.
Do you know what? I think I've not put his tweet in either. But he tweeted us loads of times during the week.
He's tweeted us tons during the week.
So he gets his Fulbright.
Now it's Fulbright now requires you to get in touch in 4 ways rather than 3.
We'll give one to Tim G as well, but he didn't get to do it first.
No. Okay, not the result Wakey wanted and frustrating to watch, but encouraging nonetheless. Good defensive effort from Trin, and we look fit with plenty of effort, something most other clubs take for granted. A bit flat in attack, will take time for Finn and Miller to get used to one another. Ben Jones Bishop hopefully won't drop as many balls in future games. His drops directly cost us 2 tries, encouraging that we're not guaranteed to finish last, but will not finish top. Paul O'Brien, who's a Vikings fan, got in touch with us. North West County's referee of the year 2003 is Paul O'Brien, for those of you who are listening and don't know about him. Great win for the Vikings today. Always good to start the season with a win. So what's the tail of the round then, Mark?
Well, rain, go away is the headline, I suppose. Summer rugby is back and back with a wet squimp.
What?
Squib?
What's a squib?
Squib.
With a squelch.
Squib, isn't it? Damp squib. Well, I don't know. I'm just too distracted by your TV. I keep thinking we need to turn it off.
Just sports news, mate.
In the 169 top tier games of 2015, this is the point though of why the rain ruined our weekend.
Okay.
In the 169 top tier games of 2015, only 3 saw less than 2,000 total metres achieved.
Right.
There were 2 games in round 1 this year, as the weather played a bit of a spoiler, especially on Friday night in the Wigan and St Helens games.
Right.
What we saw in the end was the lowest metres per game average of any top flight round since SLP began, and one of the lowest 3 average gain figures for a whole round as well. So making metres was hard to do.
It's going to be hard this weekend as well, as the weather forecast is pretty terrible again, isn't
Let's hope the game in France saves all that.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be the one thing that lifts the average, won't it?
Yeah.
So it looks like we're going to have an update on the predictions and Super Brew and Dream Team, although I don't think we need to at this early stage of the season. There's still so much to play for.
Well,
it really doesn't matter where people are.
Both of us were 2 out of 6 on the predictions. Tim van der Merwe tops the Super Brew table after one round with 8 points, which was an impressive haul in what is now a 55 people league or something crazy. Tom, you were in a 5-way share of the weekly Wooden Spoon Award. John Padgett's side, Jake's Pirates, sit top of the Dream Team League with a very, very strong 613 points in week 1.
That is a strong performance, but there's plenty of rugby league to be played. That's all I would say on that one. Okay, that's the Super League well and truly covered. Let's take a look now at some results from elsewhere in the world of rugby league. Right, so it was round 1 of the championship this weekend, and some results went the way you would expect them. But the first result we're going to talk about is, most people would say it was a big surprise result. I think that would practically be doing Batley a bit of a disservice. They were 24 points to 22 winners over the Lee Centurions.
There was certainly a lot of joy around Twitter. I didn't include anyone's tweets in the show because they were mostly just basking in Lee's misfortune.
Yeah,
but
I think it's what people enjoy.
People who never saw the game or was aware even of the result necessarily until some hours later.
Exactly.
But everyone around rugby league rejoices that Derek Beaumont's been made to look like an absolute stupid twat that he is.
But let's take a counterpoint to this. Batley Bulldogs, right, quietly gone about their business recruiting this season and have actually brought in some very talented players. They've picked up a few of the lads from Sheffield Eagles, and they've got Chris Alugia in from the Bulls, who I still maintain that we let go too early. He bagged a brace of tries, and also there's guys like Sean Haynes kind of knocking around. This is a pretty well-drilled team, and last season I think what they were lacking was some, a bit of class and a bit of incision, and they've got that now in their recruitment. So I think Batley are a better side than people are giving them credit for with their surprise at the result. Obviously Lee will have been favourites, and it's it is a great result for Batley, but let's not
big mouth Derek Beaumont was.
Did you see his Twitter his little thing after the game
that basically said well done to all our fans going for paying for half their squad this year, not congratulating Batley at all on the performance or the victory.
It's just
that's where you find a bit of a rankle with him,
cartoon character,
the way he is. I'm sure he's not like that in all. He's a successful businessman, so I can't imagine he's as much of a clown show as he comes across in his rugby league comments. Of course, we see that at the level as well, don't we?
The thing is, he's a fan. Before anything else, he's a fan.
Right.
He speaks his mind, doesn't he? And I'm, confident enough in my own views to separate him from most other Lee fans and not tar them all with the same brush.
Before we move on
some shite.
Before we move on from this game, what did you make of Paul Rowley's comments on the 5 Live sports coverage of the Wigan game on Friday night?
It certainly doesn't paint the club in the best of lights, does it?
This is what he said when asked about his resignation. Because I think the suggestion from personal issues was, has something happened in his own home life that is a problem. But basically he said, the best way of putting it is I want to keep my integrity intact. I'm a man of morals and beliefs, and there are certain aspects that I wasn't in agreement with, and I fell on my sword, if you like. It was a really difficult decision. I love the club, I love the town obviously, and I love the players and staff, but sometimes if something doesn't sit right with you, you've got to stick with your morals and beliefs, and I made a really brave decision.
I give you my theory on this, and it is a complete theory.
Speculation.
Speculate, absolutely. Raft of players recruited in the summer at great expense to the club. Some of whom quite heavily involved in some fairly difficult times at their previous club. One of whom you would think, and from the general consensus, was the main instigator of that. So some volatile characters. He comes in, start training the Paul Rowley way, disagreements in training, I'm going to drop you. Chairman, you're not dropping him. He plays, you're not telling me what to do, I'm going. I think Derek Beaumont might have tried to pick the team a bit for Paul Rowley.
I mean,
that's just me speculating. That's my idea.
What if they're breaking the cap or sort of getting around the cap in some sort of
dodgy way?
Or what if there's things going on that the players are up to that he's not particularly keen on, behaviour-wise, or who they might be.
Well, this is a squad of unhinged individuals.
So it's we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's all speculation.
Yes,
it's not really for us to to do that.
No,
so we'll move on to the next result, which is one you'll be happy with, Tommy.
Yeah, relatively so. Bradford Bulls 22, Featherstone Rovers 12. Rovers gave us a really good game.
I wouldn't know because they put absolutely zero updates on Twitter, pretty much after the first half. There was nothing coming through.
Yeah, it was
follow.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it on the radio, and it was the BCB commentary, which is equally as tough to follow, as they do tend to get drawn into tangential. What's the word? Tangential.
Whatever we normally do.
Go off on a tangent, yeah, what we're doing now, going off on a tangent, and not really telling you what's going on the pitch, so it can be quite an infuriating listen. But from what I could glean, it was really kind of quite an even game until the last 20 minutes, and fitness told. Obviously, there was much made of Richie Mathers being in the team. It sounded like he had a reasonable game, not a lot on offer in attack, but it wasn't really the sort of day for it. It was a cold bitter day at Odsall, and Adam Sidlow basically bossed it in the forwards for us. Gaskell is going to be the best player in that league again this season, but he's got no one next to him to help complement him, so God help us if he gets injured again.
Yeah, because the Canadian guy has been
both of them.
He's on trial now at Sheffield.
Yeah. Rhys Jackson's gone to Sheffield on trial, and Dan Caprice has been released from his trial as well. He's the Sevens player. So, yeah, it looks like we're going to have a season.
Hat-trick from Amari Caro. Now, we're talking about his try-scoring exploits. That's a big boost for you guys.
Well, he's got Chris Wellham inside him again now, and they played together at Hull Chaos, so they know each other. Chris Wellham looks a class apart for that division as well. Everything I've seen in pre-season, I saw him at Leeds, he looked like a different gear. He looked every inch the Super League player when we played that pre-season friendly. He and Omari Caro, no one other from playing at Hull Chaos. It just works, that little segment of the pitch. I think Chris Wellham is going to be a good outside bet for Championship Player of the Year this year. I think he's a very, very classy centre.
We got a tweet on this from Alan Kelt at Shoddy and Mungo. Tough first game, but a wins. Actually, I think he did it on the Google form. Tough first game, but the win's a win. Sidlow was the best player on the park. Fev were competitive and gave us a few scares, but happy with the 2 points, especially with the Batley win.
Yes, absolutely.
Halifax absolutely battered Whitehaven.
Halifax will be a strong outfit again this year.
Whitehaven sort of look like what we expect, a relegation candidate. We'll see how they get together as the season goes on. Oldham 0, London 22 in our Championship game of the week. Kind of went a little bit as I expected, in that London were able to do a professional job by the end, but Oldham by no means embarrassing themselves with the effort they put in. Got a lot of tweets on this, all from London related people. Ian Gatwood said London had a perfect start and wonder what else is to come out of Lee. Nicola, so everyone was a little bit preoccupied. Nicola at Nick Widd said always a pleasant journey home after a win. John Dix said great start for London, next up Swinton at home, then Lee away. That'll be interesting after the Batley result.
Three buys there for London to start the season with.
Well, they've got a good start with the two promoted teams, haven't they?
Well, and Lee can't even beat Barley.
Chris Macy at Medway Bronco 88 said very happy with our defensive attitude today against what could have been quite a banana skin. Chuffed isn't the word. London Faithful said great start to the season, nilling Oldham on their own turf. Broncos has a history of struggling away, so pleasing to see a win on to round 2.
Yep.
The other promoted team, they were at home and they were involved in a very exciting game that came pretty much down to the wire. And as I was following it on social media, I was really hopeful that Swinton were going to be able to pull this one out of the bag, but unfortunately it just fell against them, with Dewsbury winning 26 points to 24, so well done to the Rams. Then finally, Sheffield shows a bit of what they've got as their full-time outfit with a 42 points to 12 victory over Workington. Tom?
Yeah, great result for Sheffield. They're going to go well. It's going to be a tight top end to the Championship this year. Fax are going to be in with a shout. Sheffield are obviously going to be, in the mix being a professional side. London aren't, I would suggest, going to be repeating last year's mediocrity. Lee definitely going to be up there. There's a lot to look out for at the top.
Featherstone should be better as well.
Yeah, Fev should be, Fev will be there or thereabouts. I think. I don't think they'll be top 4. I think they'll just miss out. But then you look at teams like Dewsbury and Batley, they've got a win in them. Halifax look a tremendous side, beating Whitehaven by 40 odd points.
Oh yeah.
So it's what I think the exciting thing for me is what this new structure has done is actually made the top end of the Championship more competitive. Not necessarily to a point where teams are going to go up, but it's increased that level of competition. It's not just a 2-horse race this year by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and Sheffield were able to pull off their point score in what I assume was
ghastly conditions up in Cumbria.
Testing conditions. Yeah, Workington got a couple of consolation tries, just like Whitehaven scored right at the end of their game. So it's possibly going to be a difficult year up in Cumbria.
Yeah.
Daniel Fowler tweeted about the game. He said, a steady start for of the season for Sheffield. Can't grumble with a 30-point win. Big test on Friday against Halifax. More on that later on.
Yes, it is. Okay. It was also the NRL Auckland Nines this weekend, Mark.
Yeah, and we'll just run through who won the pools rather than go